Welcome to Content with Character, the weekly podcast that'll give you the momentum you need to create content with more ease, clarity, and laughter. I'm your host, content copywriter Emily Aborn, and I'm all about unconventional marketing approaches. I believe in your big ideas, and I'm excited to help you share them in a way that's distinctly you. Hello, welcome back to Content with Character. I'm so glad you're joining me. Today we're going to get into a topic that I often allude to and I tap on, but I have yet to fully share my views with you on this topic. Now, at first pass, this might come off as like an unpopular opinion, but Emily Aborn, my unpopular opinion is that I don't like unpopular opinions, and I especially don't like unpopular opinions packaged as unpopular opinions when most of them are not unpopular at all. So don't worry, I am going to share the good, I am going to share the bad and the ugly, but I'm also going to share the good and how to take a more moderate approach when it comes to using pain points in your marketing. Before I share my thoughts on pain point marketing, why I don't rely on making them cry to get them to buy, I would love to take one quick second and read our gracious and lovely review of the week. This one is actually from a listener across the pond in the UK, by the way, if you're out of the United States and you do take a few moments out of your day to write me a review, please let me know and screenshot it, because for some reason over here we cannot see your reviews if you're from out of the States. It is maddening, I tell you. There's a few of us trying to figure this out, but please don't think I'm ignoring them. Just please take a screenshot and send it to me, and I will give you your moment in the sun. This one comes from a listener, Ria. I found Emily's podcast through another that I stumbled onto, and I have been hooked ever since. It feels like I'm listening to and having a giggle with a friend. Initially, I was apprehensive of bite-sized episodes, as I often prefer our podcasts, but episodes of Content with Character have pushed me to actually take action rather than keep thinking, good idea, I'll try that sometime, and never actually do the thing. So I am grateful that I landed here with Emily. Can't wait to start 2025 with a much clearer plan, and I'm already looking forward to new episodes. Oh my gosh. I think that was one of the best reviews ever. Thank you so much, Ria. I love this, and I want to say thank you especially for that piece about the bite size. So I've actually, interestingly enough, heard from a few listeners, because I keep saying that I'm constantly trying to shorten my episodes. And a couple of people have told me like it's not as necessary as I believe it to be. So I tell you what, we can't make everybody happy. Try as we may, we will not be for everyone. So thank you to Ree and Nick for reminding me of this and just to be myself. But I still think I'm going to try to keep them semi-short. We'll see. TBD. Okay, if you're new to the show, it's going to help you, especially in today's topic, to know that I, by trade, I am a small business copywriter. I write the words that go on people's websites, in their blogs, newsletters, marketing materials, other spots that they show up online. And often with copywriting, the goal is to get people to make a purchase. Now, I also want to say, while a lot of copy has that element of sales being the ultimate goal, okay, or leading people to a next step, I am not a classic sales copywriter, meaning I don't write sales pages. And I'll tell you why. There is a very high expectation that I think that clients, folks have for sales pages. And many of the classic sales page tactics, layouts, examples, that's not really my jam. My approach is a very nurturing, relationship building, show the clients themselves, also show them yourself, show clearly what you do, how you do it, give them a clear and simple next step. It is all sales at the end of the day. But what I do does not rely on tapping on pain points. It doesn't tap on already painful parts of their lives, their psyche, and then like play games with them to get them to take the next step. So now that, and I'm not saying that that is what all sales copy does. I am just saying that is not a focus point for me in my business. So now that that is aired, when I started out, I definitely had a mix of educational stuff, personal, inspirational content, all that with like social posts and blogs and website. But a lot of the copy that I was writing, it was websites and social posts, a lot of the copy I was writing, it was very heavily focused on pain points. Pain point, pain point, pain point. Then you show them the possibility of what life might be like if they didn't have those pain points. Then you remind them of their pain points again, and then you take them to the point of a potential sale. And you just kind of like rinse and repeat and keep going. Where I stand now is that I do think it is very important to know your customers' pain points. I do think it is important to be deeply aware of what they're struggling with, what they're dealing with, how they're feeling, where they're at. Showing them that you understand and care, though, is not the same as using pain points to sell or convince somebody of something. So let's get on the same page. We'll define pain point marketing. We'll talk about why people use it in the first place, why you might reconsider it, and how to kind of blend in a more moderate approach, let's say. So defining pain point marketing. Pain point marketing is marketing that highlights a problem. You are focusing on the problem that your audience, community, client, you're focusing on what they're experiencing, but then you're positioning your product or service as the solution to that problem. So some of the classic examples that might tip you off to let you know, oh, this is a use of pain point marketing. It might say things like, are you, tired or exhausted? Do you experience burnout? Are you sick of feeling stuck? Are you over wasting time and money? Now, I don't want to throw any books or frameworks under the bus here, but there is a very popular book and a very popular framework out there in the wild that loves them some pain point marketing. They use it all the time. So what I want to show today in this episode is that pain point marketing is not your only option. And rather than focusing on the problem, rather than focusing on what people are suffering with, we can focus on things like transformation and benefits. And we can take a little bit more of a personality-based, positive approach that is more empowering, I think, as an alternative. Okay, so if pain point marketing is so terrible, Emily, why do people use it in the first place? Well, it is not terrible, but it is very popular. It is very straightforward, and it is very easy to execute. So that's part of why. We've also been taught that pain point marketing leverages human psychology, because it does. It's kind of like taking what's inside your brain and then turning it back at you and showing you the problem, okay? Now, many people, I would venture to say most people, are motivated to avoid loss or discomfort rather than focus on gain. So what pain point marketing does is it taps into that really primal part of ourselves. And it shows you, well, you could keep on losing all of these things. You could keep on suffering. You could suffer more. You could lose more if you don't buy this thing now or work with me now. Now, I will say this, highlighting problems is very easy. It is our brain's natural way of being. You identify the pain points, you exaggerate their impact a little bit. You think, like worst case scenario, offer them some worst case scenarios, and then you position your offering as the clear way out. So it's very easy peasy. And I will say this, it does work. At least it works in the short term. Pain point marketing often grabs people's attention, myself included, because it is emotionally charged. It triggers something in you that makes you want to respond and react. You're like, oh my God, that's me. And it also creates a sense of FOMO. So it really feeds into people's sense of wanting to belong or fit in or know that they're being seen and heard and validated. Now, what I'll also say is that this has been the norm for a while. It dates way back. I don't think it was the original form of marketing from what I was kind of poking around and looking, but it is definitely an old technique and it's really widespread. It is often used, and I'll tell you why. Because the perception is, whether this is true or not, the perception is that it delivers fast results, and that's what we all want, right? We want fast sales. Now, I want to open up a new perspective. So first of all, part of the reason I believe that it is so widespread is because it's continuously perpetuated. Despite not being the most ethical or the most healthy form of marketing, it is constantly being pushed at you. So, of course it's widespread. There's like an evangelical effort to remind marketers that like this is the way, the only true path. Now, I have some specific reasons that I don't like it, so I'm going to share those, and then I'm going to share kind of like what you might try instead, what you might focus on instead, and also where the paths cross, okay? So, my reasons for not loving it, or as I should say, like the way I'm going to help us open up to a new perspective, are some of the exact reasons people choose it. Like my first reason that I don't like it is the results are often fast, which also translates to the fact that they can be more short-lived. So a lot of people who buy based on urgency and pain, they're likely to feel resentment down the road when, you know what, that solution only just barely scratched the surface of fixing their problem, or they're not exactly very committed to doing any work themselves. They kind of just want somebody else to take care of it for them, do it for them. They just want a quick fix. So let me just say, as a copywriter, I have noticed there are very few actual copywriting emergencies. So when a client comes to me with a copywriting emergency, I kind of look at the situation and I'm like, you know what? In many situations, I tend not to be the right fit. So why would I'm just using myself as an example here. Why would I, as a copywriter, want to incite this urgency through my website, tell them all the reasons they're going to perish immediately and their business will fail instantly if they don't work with me as a copywriter? I don't. I want clients who are signed, sealed, committed, long-term. They know that parts make a whole. They know that this is a collaborative experience. It's a long game, big picture process. We're on this adventure together, but it is not a quick fix. So that's kind of one thing that people will often turn to pain point marketing for because they want fast results. And I don't always think that is the answer for us, depending on what our business is. Benefits-focused marketing, which I referred to benefits last week. Benefits-focused marketing, relationship building, marketing that's focused on transformation and future outcomes and possibility and positive changes. I think that leads to stronger, better, longer-term relationships and longer-lasting success. It's more sustainable, both for your business and also for your clients. So my second reason for not loving pain point marketing is the fear, urgency, and lack that it creates. Now, by emphasizing a problem or a pain point, you can probably guess that you're going to create a sense of urgency and lack. You are also triggering and inciting their fear as a primary motivator to make the purchase. Now, let me just tell you, as a buyer, if you are already feeling frustrated, you are already afraid, you're already stressed or stuck, you are definitely going to act more quickly to alleviate that discomfort. I don't like creating urgency because that is a false representation of how I'm actually going to take people through my process, how I work with people and run my business. So I don't want somebody coming in to the starting line feeling less than or deficient or lacking prior to working together. I want them to come from a place of possibility and excitement to be doing what we're doing. My third reason for not loving them is that we're in enough pain. Okay. What I think about a lot of pain point marketing, what I think it does wrong often is that it just reminds people over and over and over again of pain and struggles and coming from a place of lack and leaving them feeling a little bit less empowered and inspired and excited to get started. We kind of are reminded of these messages day in and day out. And I will say that they kind of start blending together. So if you can be the person that doesn't focus on just reminding people that they're in pain, you will stand out. Now, I do think that it is important to realize what your people are going through. Empathy is a good thing, okay? Life is not easy, and we kind of need to level with them and understand what our clients and our community are dealing with. It's not always easy. And I think we can also find a balance of acknowledging that, the reality of the situation, without then rubbing salt in the wounds, okay? Actually, you know what's even worse than salt in a wound? Jalapeno. Ask me how I know. Okay, my fourth reason for not really loving pain point marketing is that it's a little outdated. Friendly reminder, as humans, we're getting savvier and savvier around being marketed to. We kind of know when we're being sold to. We want, more than ever before, positivity and authenticity. We want to feel a sense of relationship and alignment with the brands that we're purchasing from. I actually recently saw a commercial for a Kia, which is a car, that did this really, really well. So the gist of the commercial is just basically the guy gets out of his car, can't stop looking back at his car. And everywhere he goes to the city, he's always just like looking back at his car, admiring it, and there's some like dreamy music playing. Now, they did not touch a single pain point in that commercial. They simply created a narrative of how much he is going to fall in love with his car when you buy theirs. And I tell you what, it was so simple. It was so creative, and I did not feel like it was like one of those moments where you forget you're being marketed to. And that's what I'll say. Like, as humans, we're just getting smarter about when we are being sold to. And I think that's why I really love something that is sans pain points, because it's like for a moment, especially if it's a story or a narrative, you can kind of forget that you're being sold to. And also, I should get into that on another day entirely, because the whole conversation around quote unquote being sold to is not, I have many thoughts. Okay, pin in that. Let's get to that another time. Lastly, I don't like pain point marketing because it raises my ethical yellow flags or red flags. It's blurry, okay, at best. I'm like, is it yellow? Is it red? I don't know. Sometimes it gets dicey and shisty, and in my opinion, it's more ethical to market in a way that feels good and is mutually beneficial to both parties. I'm sure it can be done ethically, but I just find it's a weird sort of blurry line. Often what I see is that pain points are assumed. People have like this surface level understanding of who they're speaking to. They make a lot of assumptions that everyone's in the same boat, everyone's struggling with the same thing, and then they go really hard on crafting a message around those assumptions. It's like this very short-term satisfaction, short-term gain, drive to close sales. And in our defense, it is being marketed to us. It is being reinforced by marketers everywhere as the best way to market, the best way to convert. So I think a lot of entrepreneurs kind of get it ingrained into them without ever really questioning why. Why am I doing this? And do I really understand my clients? And is this the right fit for my brand and my people? So I've harped on it a little bit. And here are the things that I think are relevant in pain points, ways that you can use everything that they have going for them, but do so in a little bit more of a mindful way. There is an element of emotions involved in pain point marketing, and I do like bringing in the emotions. I do like the emotional approach. I speak often of talking directly to your clients and being specific. And I think in order to do that, you have to talk to their emotions. You have to understand that they're often using feelings to make their decisions. I've got feelings, you've got feelings. We're all emotional creatures, and pain point marketing does definitely bring this front and center. So showing them that you understand their pain, I think is fantastic. It helps them feel seen, understood, and it does create that emotional spark. It makes them stop and say, yes, that is exactly what I'm going through. But what I don't like is when those emotions are conjured up or overemphasized, or they're used basically for the sake of like capitalizing on somebody's pain or somebody's emotions or somebody's terrible circumstances, which I think that's often how the tactic, or at least how it's perceived, but that is how the tactic is often used. So if you like all that emotional piece, which I do, I love it, and I would encourage you to do it. I don't want you to take them down that potentially dark path. And like I said, like we don't want to teeter on that ethical edge. So you could always do what I referred to in last week's episode by focusing on benefit. Still talks to the emotions, but when you take a benefits first approach, you're essentially saying, here is the benefit, here's the emotional benefit of working with me, of XYZ. And here's the difference. I wanted to like give you a tiny mini example just so you can hear what one sounds like versus the other. Is your relationship falling to shambles because you can't communicate effectively? Are you feeling distant, unheard, and misunderstood by your partner? Okay, so that's like the pain point approach. And then if we were to take a benefits approach, we could say, imagine a relationship where you feel deeply connected to your partner, truly heard, completely understood. With the right tools, you can strengthen your bond, improve communication, and bring joy back into your relationship. It's a very simple difference, and we're still talking to those emotions, but we're focusing on the empowering and transformative aspect. So again, I do really like understanding the pain points of your people, but I would encourage you not to overlook getting in depth with those, like really turning them over, not just generalizing, asking your clients and customers directly to tell you how they feel, what they struggle with, what they want, and what they want as transformation and potential on the other side. And then bring that to life. Shift from problems to potential in your copy and in your content and in your marketing. Another way to do this, and an area I'm actually working on this year, is sharing client wins. And this could be in the form of testimonials or case studies or providing a before and after example. Many times in these reviews and testimonials and client stories, they will say exactly what they were struggling with before. They will tell you exactly how they were feeling or experiencing life before they started working with you and how it was different on the other side. What I love about this is that the examples are also real. They're not conjured up. They're not guesses. They're very, very real. They're very specific so that other people can then see themselves in somebody else's story, and they can for themselves see the journey from maybe being in pain to transformation. You can even end those kind of testimonials or reviews or case studies with a question. Do you want clarity around your business goals like Kathy? Let's get started. You want results like Shirley? Well, contact me. Let's go. It is, in a word, glorious. So that's my encouragement. You don't need to scare people into working with you. It's, in my opinion, a little bit of a tired game to be doing that. And I think that we're getting more and more hungry for authenticity, honesty, and empowerment as a society and also consumers. So your marketing microdose this week, if you want to start rethinking some of this for yourself, give your messaging a look over. Maybe you start on your website. Have a think and just see if you're leading with transformation. Are you accurately showing your clients what could be on the other side? Are you focusing on those positive outcomes? And obviously, like I said, sometimes we do need to use them, but I would ask you not to rely on them. Don't rely on making them cry to get them to buy. Check your tone. Aim for uplifting, encouraging, not fear-mongering or pressuring. Even if you do have to bring up a little bit of the pain, make sure that you do let them know that there is hope. There is hope for them. They're not alone. It's okay to need help. They can do it. Come from a very empowering place. Remember, we're in this for long-term success, long-lasting relationships. We're in this to build trust, which consequently I'm going to talk about next week when we are going to get into how you actually build the know, like, and trust factor as a business owner. So on that note, I'll leave you here and I will see you next week. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Content with Character. If you loved the episode, please make sure to subscribe to the podcast, rate, review, and share it with someone else you know it could help. For more content and visibility tips, visit my blog at emilyaborn.com and be sure to connect with me on Instagram at emilyaborn. I'd love to hear how this inspired you to take action.